apologize for my English. I'm not used to be speaking in English, sorry. So, the museum. Our museum is a regional museum with archaeological, historical, and ethnographic collections dating from the Paleolithic until today, and we manage about 100,000 objects, very different objects, with new acquisitions for the renovation. And our retail with territories we are focused on in the fashion permanent galleries are the Alpine area for archaeological times and the former states of Savoie for the Middle Ages to the 19th century, and finally the departments of Savoie and Haute-Savoie concerning the contemporary period. Due to a major renovation, the museum is currently closed to the public. We will reopen in 2020, and the renovation will fulfill several objectives: to provide visitors with a more welcoming and comfortable experience with the implementation of two elevators, to improve the preservation of collections with the construction of a conservation center, the digital classifications to the entire collection. It's a big work. And to increase the gallery space and allow the museum to exhibit more of its diverse collection in deeper and more interdisciplinary ways. The new permanent galleries will present 7 themes: geopolitical history of Savoie, clothing, migrations and communication times, religions and funerary practices, housing, environment and economy, food and culinary practices. Within culinary practices, we will speak about food practices, but in fact, we will speak about food production, food preservation, cooking, and trade. To prepare the renovation, we do a lot of things, and the museum finances historical and ethnological research to document the societal changes that Savoie is experiencing in order to enrich the future permanent exhibitions. So it was a rural area, but now we can't speak about really a rural area. We have experienced a change of scale of industrialization at the beginning of the 20th century, and Savoie has become urbanized and industrialized, and the predominant ski industry in the department of Savoie has changed landscapes, representations, and cultural practices. After a strong rural exodus from the 60s to the 80s, Savoie has experienced demographic development over the past 30 years. To give you an indication, nowadays, 1 inhabitant out of 2 was not born in Savoie. The Musée Savoisien has commissioned researchers to survey inhabitants about the memories of industrialization, about migrations, about religious and funerary practices, languages, food and culinary practices. These studies are sometimes, not always, accompanied by photographic covers. They are published in the Museum Digital magazine on our website, and they also appear. We do public conferences, and we collect objects to enrich museography. And we are in a big, market. I don't know if we say like that, but to choose filmmakers who will do a lot of little films for the permanent galleries. food and culinary practices in Tarentaise. So we have commissioned an anthropological study on changes in food and culinary practices in Tarentaise. I said change in, it's very important. Because, Savoie is, food and cuisine practices in Savoie are often perceived as poor, reduced to few archetypes like Savoie cake, tartiflette, raclette, fondue. There are a lot of stereotypes, clichés, and or emblematic dishes. Considering the complexity and richness of local practices, we have decided to carry out a field investigation to document changes and continuity in culinary practices in Tarentaise. The objective is because it's still it's an actual present survey to identify local practices, to showcase them in the museum, and to enable inhabitants to appropriate them as cultural heritage and to share them with tourism and catering professionals. So the Tarentaise Valley has experienced a major cultural change in the 20th century. We have a hydroelectric development, ski industry, and the arrival of new populations like engineers, workers of immigrant origin, and with tourism, all the economy has a lot of change. And Bourg-Saint-Maurice, which is a little capital, become a cosmopolitan little city with an important English presence. This urbanized Alpine Valley contest raises the question of studying the links maintained or created by the inhabitants with the territory as its natural or cultivated resources. So we try to study the phenomena of patrimonialization, family transmission, emblematization, and the influence of tourism, migration, and globalization, and what the people deal with also internet. So this is Christiane Dunoyer, you see the woman. She's a Bardestan researcher. She speaks a lot of languages, French, Italian, Franco-Provençal, and I think other languages. And she works for us. She makes surveys in the valley, and she is with the inhabitants, and you can see she makes for us some photos. We can see she works on the dishes and also the resources. So later, what we want to do with this survey, we want to make a publication in the digital journal of the museum, sharing the results with the inhabitants. We would like to make a big scientific symposium. Also to work with the schools and the technical college of the valley. We would like to work with chefs and public tastings, and to collect some new objects for our collection. We want to also continue our partnerships with all the territories in Savoie and show you some images from the region, Parc Naturel Régional des Vosges, who is doing the same type of survey. Thank you, et bon appétit.